So think about the most important technologies you use every day. Where do they even come from? Well, you might be surprised to learn that the blueprint for one of the most critical pieces of global infrastructure we have, the modern passport, actually came from a quiet experiment in Malaysia. Let's dive into how that happened. All right, so when I say global innovation, where does your mind go? Silicon Valley, right? Maybe somewhere in Europe, the big tech labs we're always hearing about. And hey, that's a totally natural assumption to make. But the real story is usually a lot more complex, and honestly, way more interesting. The origin of one of the most crucial pieces of modern travel came from a place that many people would never, ever expect. Yeah, this story doesn't kick off with some flashy product launch or a billion-dollar startup. Nope. It all starts with the humble passport, that little booklet we all carry around, often without giving it a second thought. To really get how this all went down, we've got to go back in time. We're talking 1998. The internet was still pretty young, and the idea of a smart document, that was basically science fiction for most of us. In March of '98, Malaysia did something completely unprecedented. They became the very first country on Earth to issue a passport with a digital chip embedded right inside it. I mean, they were true pioneers. So what exactly was this new tech? Well, a biometric passport, or an e-passport, is pretty much a traditional passport book, but with this tiny, powerful microchip embedded in it. This little chip holds all the passport holders' info digitally, along with their unique biometric data, like a fingerprint or a facial scan. But what did people think back then? To be honest, the idea was met with a lot of skepticism. It seemed way too complicated, unnecessary, and maybe even a little risky. But now, fast forward to today, and it's not just some neat little feature. It's an absolutely essential global standard for travel security. So the big question is, how did this one local experiment become the blueprint for the entire planet? Well, this is where the story really takes off and goes global. This innovation did not go viral. Remember, this was 1998. There was no social media hype, no massive conference announcement, and for sure no immediate global applause. It was a truly quiet revolution. It all really boils down to a simple, powerful principle. When something works, the world eventually adopts it. This idea took off because it was practical and effective, not because it was flashy or had some slick marketing campaign. And wow, did the world adopt it. Today, over 150 countries issue biometric passports that are all based on that original concept. So this isn't some niche technology, it's the global default for how we travel. So the critical question is why it spread so far. It's because it became indispensable. Modern airport security, those e-gates at immigration, the whole system of verifying international travel, all of it now depends on the technology that started as a quiet experiment in Malaysia. But here's the thing. This story is so much more than just a cool piece of history. It actually reveals a really powerful lesson about what it truly means to innovate. What this story really shows us is that the ability to build world-changing systems exists everywhere. The challenge isn't a lack of talent. It's often a lack of confidence and the patience you need to really see an idea all the way through. And you know what? This same principle applies today. Think about all the quiet, practical work being done in new fields like digital identity or crypto and blockchain. The real breakthroughs aren't always the ones making the headlines. They're the ones solving real problems, step by step. So what's the blueprint for this kind of success? It really boils down to three key things. First, having absolute clarity of purpose, knowing exactly what problem you're solving. Second, a real commitment to flawless execution. And finally, enduring patience, because true, lasting adoption always takes time. And that brings us to the big takeaway. This isn't just about looking back at history. It's about looking forward and understanding what this means for anyone trying to build something new today. Maybe the most powerful lesson here is this. You do not need permission or approval from the usual centers of innovation to create something that matters. If you have a clear purpose and a solid plan, you already have everything you need to just start building. I want to end on this one crucial idea that really captures this entire mindset. Meaningful systems are often built quietly, long before they are recognized. The most important work isn't always done in the spotlight. It's built with focus and determination, long before the rest of the world even takes notice. So as we wrap this up, the question isn't just about technology or history. It's really a question for you. In your work, in your life, what meaningful system are you building quietly?